Buffalo in the playoffs.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 4 of the Puckin Leafs Podcast. I'm Joe Cioffs. I'm here with my boy, Coach Frank, and we even brought Bobby Bottles on this week because we're going to talk a little bit about the Leafs in Vegas, and he is Mr. Vegas, so he'll have a lot to share, I'm sure, about that. Boys, how we doing before we get into it? Frankie looks a little tired.
Well, you know, when you're staying up to watch the third period of a interesting hockey game, it starts taking a toll on your sleeping habits. And
Absolutely.
when you got a 6-year-old now playing rep hockey and, you know, going rink to rink, it's takes a toll a bit, man. But get a little Gatorade, put a little in you, and get right back out there.
Attaboy. Does it make you feel jealous of looking at a guy like Bobby Bottles who doesn't have kids yet, kind of comes and goes as he pleases, stays up late, sleeps in, no problem?
There's going to come a day when Bobby's going to turn to us and say, now I get it. Now I get it.
I ain't sleeping in. I don't know. I'm in the rink more than the coach right now. So,
and it's not leading to much success, I hear.
Well, you know, work in progress. Work in progress.
Attaboy.
Hey, I put my time in. I put many years in. I'm done.
You know what else is a work in progress are these Maple Leafs. So I'll use that to segue in here. Last time we spoke, they had just played the Arizona Coyotes. Since then, they defeated the Dallas Stars in overtime. Big Nick Robertson game. They defeated the Winnipeg Jets on the road in Winnipeg on Saturday, and then, of course, lost to Vegas yesterday. So let's start with the Vegas game. It was the most recent. Bobby, you're a Vegas guy. I mean, if you showed up to Vegas and then had a day to do whatever it is you wanted, imagine having to play a hockey game the following day. What kind of condition would you be in?
I'd probably need the hangover heaven and a little bit of that oxygen that they pump into those wonderful meccas down there.
Then it is no surprise then that the Maple Leafs came up with that dud of an effort. I think the first year that Vegas was in the lead, they had a lot of these games where the visiting team came in, obviously enjoyed themselves a little bit in Vegas. And not to say they got, you know, drunk or ruined. It's just, it's a great town to be in. They probably enjoyed themselves some way or another. And then your head is just not ready to play that game. And then Vegas took advantage of it. That first year kind of reminded me of one of those games where they just didn't seem into it. Vegas was the better team all night. I think there were stretches, you know, where the Leafs took it to them. Like the Matthews line had a couple shifts where they were just in the Vegas zone and should have scored, but didn't. But other than that, Vegas pretty much controlled it. And were it not for Ilya Samsonov, that game could have got out of hand way quicker than it did.
Yeah. You know, Vegas, like we talk about teams having an identity, right? And Vegas, if you haven't watched their games, they play with pace. They score a lot of goals off the rush. They play a lot of north-south. So they're a very fast team, and they start well. So all those things are a recipe for disaster if you're the Leafs. Because if you're going to sit back and not play fast and not skate, that's the result you get. And, you know, credit to Vegas. First, second, and third period, right at the start, bang, they were all over them. And, you know, you don't make the adjustment. You know, I'll get to it later on, but, you know, Vegas played to their strengths. They played to their identity, and they come out with the 2 points. It's a pretty simple ingredient. I know we're sitting here in hindsight saying this is this and that and this, but it's, you know, anybody who knows hockey, anybody who watches hockey, you know, you skate, you come out on the winning end. It's very simple.
I think this year already feels like, I mean, we're 7 games in. They're 4-3. Every win kind of feels like a sense of relief, like, okay, they got to win. And every loss is like a referendum on what is wrong with the team. You listen to all the media outlets here. Everything's very negative. And sure, we're going to have some negative things to say about this team because we're honest, and that's what they deserve. But the sky's not falling yet. I mean, last year they started 2-4-1. This year they're 4-3. So a better start thus far anyways from last year when you compare it. Let's go with the good, the bad, and the Leafy to go over this last little stretch of games here for them. If I may begin, boys, the good for me has been Auston Matthews looking like Auston Matthews the last couple of games. He's buzzing. He's around the net. He's getting his chances. That one particular chance where Thompson, the goalie for Vegas, stopped him. If you give Auston Matthews that chance 100 times, he's scoring on 99 of them. It's just one of those things where the puck ain't going in for him yet. He's currently shooting. He has a shooting percentage of 3%, which is historically low for him. He's historically on average around a 15, 16, 17% shooter, which is very high for the average NHL player, but it's Auston Matthews, the best 5-on-5 goal scorer of the past 5 years. So pretty soon he's going to regress to the mean, and the pucks are going to start going in, which will only mean more success for this team. What do you guys have for your good?
My good, I don't think I'm as optimistic on Auston Matthews as you are, but that's okay because we're not going to agree on everything, to be quite honest with you. What I do like about Auston Matthews, and I'll throw in a good for me, is his physicality. He's come out and he's led by throwing his weight around, and which has always been like, it gets him involved in the play more. Hits has led to more puck battles being won, better possession, takeaways. But how about drawing penalties? He's actually drawing penalties.
The refs are actually calling it this year.
They're actually calling it, which is a good thing to see. You're getting the so-called NBA treatment. The star players are getting that NBA treatment. So that's what I've been kind of happy with him. But aside from that, it's glaringly obvious. For me, a good is Ilya Samsonov. We talk about it the last couple episodes. He's playing solid net minding. You're getting solid net minding from this guy. He's keeping them in games when really they shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been 1-1 into the third. He's very quiet in the net. None of those goals were his fault. What do you expect the guy to do? He's not, and he's saving high danger chances, which is scary on the one end, but he's giving them a chance to win. And that's really all you could ask. And I think as we sit today, he's at .942 save percentage, which is top 3 right now in the NHL with goalies that have at least 4 starts. And Joe, that prediction I've made, it's kind of looking pretty good right now, isn't it?
Which one? You made a plenty of predictions. Which one are you particularly referring to?
I was hesitant to do, but I'm still sticking with it. That the Leafs were gonna at least up to the range. Let's go to the All-Star break. But I said end of the season, but maybe I'll move it back a bit. That the Leafs would be bottom 10 in scoring, but top 10 in goaltending in terms of save percentage.
That was quite the prediction, and thus far you are correct. But again, small sample size, right?
Correct.
I don't think it's going to keep up. Right now, you have Edmonton, Colorado, and the Maple Leafs with the worst shooting percentage in the NHL. Those 3 teams. That's not going to continue for a long stretch of time. I just can't see it happening for either of those 3 teams. So, Bobby, what's a good thing for you that you've noticed with this Maple Leafs team?
I'll go with the second line, and more specifically, Nick Robertson. He's obviously looked pretty good. John Tavares, John was always like kind of not getting enough credit. He was just kind of moseying along. He's putting in some power play goals, but I think they've all been pretty good. It's obviously going to work. I can see a point where they get broken up, though. I can see a point where they try Nick Robertson up on the first line and move Marner back with Tavares. You guys might disagree.
Well, we've been arguing that for a long time, Frank and I, that why not mix it up and change it up once in a while? We used to criticize Babcock for being so set in his ways. And it seems like Keefe, in this particular case, with the Marner-Matthews combo and the Nylander-Tavares combo, is the same way. He even when it's not working, he won't switch it up even for just a period to see what happens. It's a little frustrating.
But isn't it glaringly obvious why, guys? Come on, if we've learned anything from the past week about Keefe retracting his statements, this is not by choice. This is Matthews and Marner saying, "Don't split us up." I'll put money on it. This is them saying, "Don't split us up." And he gives in to his star players. So it's the treatment, it's the red carpet treatment, and it won't happen. It won't happen.
I hope that's not the case, but evidence would suggest that might be the case. All right, the bad. So we've done the good. The bad for me are the slow starts for this team. Once again, they've had 7 games. They scored the first goal twice. Going back to the playoffs against Tampa, in that 7-game series, out of the 7 games, they also only scored the first goal twice. So this has been an issue for them the last little while, going back to last season. For a team that plays so well with the lead, they just don't have it enough to begin the season, and it's becoming a problem for them. So that's something I think they need to rectify. I don't know why they have such a difficult time starting games on time. And this has been a problem with them since the Babcock days. I don't understand it. I don't get it one bit.
Well, let's see, Joe. If it ain't the coach, and if it happened with Babcock, it's happening with Keefe, there's really a common denominator here. And it's the players. Listen, the coach is not out there playing. He can have every motivational speech you can think of, read every fortune cookie you can find, read every poem, every Rocky Balboa speech. It's not gonna change anything. It's the guys out there with the mentality that it's small details. It's taking care of your responsibilities away from the puck, right from the drop of the puck on the faceoff. So, and now if I'm a coach, I'm looking at this to say, I got to put 5 guys out there who I can, that I can rely on. And to be honest with you, I did this when I was coaching. I used it almost like like a dangling a carrot. Like if you want to be on the first shift of the game, you do your job. You're going right back out there because it shows me that you started the game, you're mentally ready to go, and you're going to get rewarded for that. Not that he would ever do it, but why not mix it up a bit only for the first shift of the game? Why do you have to put, Matthews, Marner, and Bunting out there if one of them has that issue or been having issues with defensive responsibilities? Go a little bit different. Go a little bit more defensive. They do it in the last minute of the game. Why can't they do it in the first shift? Why not go, I don't know, Kampf, Matthews, and Kerfoot? I'm just saying, if you use it in the last shift of the game, why could you do it in the first? At least, get off to a consistent start. It's just an idea, but it's something's got to change. It's very frustrating to watch.
Indeed. What do you have for your bad? Lots to choose from, right?
Yeah, lots. No, I love yours. Obviously, that's the most glaring, obvious thing. I'm gonna go with the bottom 6. There's just no offense coming from the bottom 6. We can do a whole pod on Pierre Engvall. God, Jesus, if I was 6'5", man, I'd be finishing my checks. I'd be getting in guys' faces. I'd be making a difference. This is Freddie Gauthier all over again. And I know that's a hell of a comparison, but when you're 6'5", and you have speed, like what are they? These are the draft, right? Because of his neck. And I know he's a lanky guy, but I get it. He's coming off an injury. I understand that. But man, take the hint. If you're playing in a bottom 6 role on a third line, you're asked to play a defensive role, but also you got to get your nose dirty. And Pierre Engvall right now is an absolute. He's just there. He's just there. He's kind of going through the motions. I credit Keefe for putting him in the box as a reset. But what he showed in the game against Vegas coming back, that's pathetic. And it's not just him. The whole thing about Obey Kubel and Zach Aston Reese, you got to get them back in now. You got to play with that bottom 6 to find something. Right now, it's lines 1, 2, 4A, and 4B. There's no third line right now. You got to get something for at least Mikheyev, Engvall, and Kampf provided a little bit of offense. Right now, it's just dried up, and it's scary if you can't get at least some production from your bottom 2 lines.
The thing with Engvall that really pisses me off is that he was taken out of the lineup. Normally, that should light a fire under your butt. you should be coming out like guns a-blazing and trying to not drill someone into the boards. That's not his game, but at least finish your checks, like you mentioned.
That's all
That's
we're
all you
asking.
got to do. You're not asking for anything crazy here. In terms of switching up the lines, getting those the abbreviation boys, I'll call them Nicholas Aube-Kubel and Zach Aston Reese. I saw an interesting tweet here earlier about Aube-Kubel. His most common line mates in Colorado were Alex Newhook and Nico Sturm. So these aren't really muck guys. These are guys with a little bit of skill. So maybe, and that line in particular for Colorado in the Stanley Cup final last year had a 55% expected goals while they were on the ice at 5-on-5. That's pretty damn good for a third, fourth line against a really quality opponent in Tampa Bay. So maybe a guy like that does a little bit better with a few more skill guys. So what if you did something like Yarncroc, Kerfoot, and Aube-Kubel, and then you drop Engvall down to Kempf because you know they work well together with Zach Aston Reese? It's a possibility. I think that's something they should be or could be looking at.
Well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow because they should be practicing tomorrow. And, there are rumblings that one, if not both guys are getting back in the lineup, but Engvall could be on the fourth line with Kemp, and Aube-Kubel could be on that third line. So
look at that. Not? See? Coach Joe, look at that. Bobby,
it's good to see you guys
for our bad.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys are finally on the Pierre Engvall is useless train that I've been saying for 2 years.
That's left the station, my friend.
The Canucks are really. Oh, sorry, this is a Leaf thing. I'll go with. I don't know if you guys are going to understand this, but the bad is this sense of insanity with this team. Is that, we saw what happened last year. They rolled back with a really similar roster, which obviously they were going to do, and they're off to the exact same start with the exact same team. And I'm sure they're going to go on a really nice run here, exactly like they did last year, which means that going along that trend come playoff time, I'm expecting the exact same result. And it feels like they're like they have a lot of talent, but it just feels like it's just an organization with their wheels spinning in mud. That it's okay.
So Bobby, you're not a Leaf fan in particular. What would you look to change about the team so that they don't end up with the same result?
I don't know, Joe. Like we've said it, that when you tie up this much money, your hands are tied. So,
but Bobby, every good team in the league has a lot of money tied up in a lot of good players. I don't buy that. Like, okay, the Leafs have 4 players taking up this significant portion of the cap. Well, so does Tampa. So does Colorado now. Like, that's what good teams are. They have good players, and those good players cost a lot of money.
I don't disagree, but what I'm saying is this 4-pack of players hasn't had any playoff success, and I don't know why this year is going to be any different. I get that sense of it's just they're going to go through a good regular season, and something's going to happen in the playoffs. Something's going to happen to this team, and that's how I feel. It's just that they're just circling. It's just circling for me.
You see that, folks? Not even non-Leaf fans have a sense of doom when they look at this team. Impending doom.
The fact that you guys touched on the part that the coach refuses to try different things, refuses to change. I've said it for 2 years. Use the regular season as like a dress rehearsal of try different stuff now. Not in the third period of an elimination game. Try it now. Why? Because this regular season, we know they're going to make the playoffs. We know they're going to have a good regular season. I don't get why you don't try some stuff. I said something to another Leaf fan, and I said, what if you went Robertson on the first line with Matthews, Marner on the second line with Tavares, and Nylander went on the third line? And Joe, you're talking about playing with Aube-Kubel. Why don't you try them together? Like, you don't know what's going to work until you try it. So the fact that they refuse to change, it's like, okay, it's the same team with the same start, and it's going to be the same middle. And sorry for you guys, it's probably going to be the same end.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I think, going back to the whole cap thing, the Leafs are notorious for setting guys up to fail. And really what I mean by that is putting guys in positions where they have no business being in. Look as far back as Dion Phaneuf. He was never a number one defenseman, but man, did they ever try to make him window one. And how did that turn out? Where on other teams, he'd be a pretty good number 3 or number 4 guy. I look at this defense core and, you're asking Justin Hall to play top 4 minutes. Yes, barring injuries, and I get, what you have in terms of depth, but are you gonna? And he's been playing well. I got to give credit to Victor Mete. He stepped in, has done an admirable job. But are you gonna ask him to play 5 more minutes on the road in Vegas? No. You're probably
I do
gonna
like
get the same.
Mete because he brings something that this defense core needs, which is skating and speed.
Yeah, and you also saw how he played that 2-on-1 that led to the second goal as well,
Yeah.
right? So listen, Joe, you can skate all you want, pal, but if you're going to be a fourth forward out there, you're not getting another 5 minutes. All I'm trying to say is you're just putting guys in a position to fail versus you spend all that money in your big 4 guys. You didn't really leave any in the back end to provide, at least 3 top defensemen. You have 2 decent defensemen, and now you're asking for, turning chicken shit into chicken sandwich. It's going to be tough. And this defense core, again, is going to lead to their downfall because they were absolutely shredded again last night by a mediocre Vegas team. And I say mediocre because they're not great in terms of their forward depth. They have a couple nice pieces, but it's a scary thought. And something has to be done about that defense core. It cannot stay the same again. And they may have to swing for the fences here and look at acquiring a guy on the cap space. We talked about last time, but, Churkin may be that guy. If he's healthy, he may be the most realistic option. And it is a realistic. They have the pieces to do it. They have the cap space to do it with guys.
How do they have the cap space to do it? Explain
with
that.
Guys on the LTIR and what would go back the other way. Listen, nothing's out of the realm of possibility with these guys in terms of deals. So you have to make the move. You have to. This core is not good enough. This defense core is not good enough.
All right, let's get to the Leafy. So, Bobby, the Leafy is basically something that tends to always happen to the Leafs. Like, oh, man, that's so Leafy. So there's always something for us to pick out. And in particular, mine that's so Leafy was yesterday in the Vegas game, the Maple Leafs challenged Phil Kessel's goal. It was a 6-minute review, and it was deemed offside. Goal disallowed. Great. And then the Leafs, of course, allowed a goal 30 seconds later on the exact same power play that they were trying to kill off. That's so Leafy. Which, can we go back to the instant replay for a second? The refs should get 1 minute to look at the replay.
Agreed.
In regular speed, in regular time. If you can't tell in that 1 minute, then it's not conclusive and you go with the call on the ice. Enough with these 5-6 minute reviews. It's ridiculous. And to have a goal called back, I know it worked out in the Leafs' favor, but to have a goal called back on offside, even though the goal happened 30 or 40 seconds after that offside would have occurred, is ridiculous. That rule needs to change. And the whole review process needs to change. I just can't stand it. And hockey's not the only sport.
You're killing the flow of the game.
Absolutely, yes.
Like how much time does it's more simple than you think. If you can't find enough, then it's inconclusive, meaning the call on the ice stands as is, whether it's right or wrong. It's inconclusive. It's like you're trying to find it. You know what I mean? If it's not there, it's not there.
And if a guy's toe is offside, really, did that really have an effect on the goal? Did they really gain an advantage from that? Like, come on.
The rule was instituted because of the Duchesne thing, and it was to eliminate the egregious things.
Yes.
I don't know. And guys, I don't know if you guys have been following on Twitter, but baseball's been going crazy about the Padres, Phillies, like check swing. How is an umpire supposed to? I can't even decipher it. We're 50-50 looking at a picture. Imagine having to make that call in real time I agree. Everything should be watched in basically regular speed or maybe half speed, not like frame by frame. We're taking away the reason that we put the rule in for me. So I have a Leafy.
Yeah,
It goes a little
please.
bit on to the along to the Frank stuff with this decor. This decor is very Leafy to me, and he talked about Dion Phaneuf putting him in a spot to fail. Guys, I see this a lot. I think as a coach, you're supposed to set players up to succeed. Why not putting people in a role that is going to suit them? I look at a guy like Victor Mete, who I think Vic's a really good defenseman. I don't know if you guys notice him off the puck. He's actually really good defensively. He's in the right spot quite often.
Frank's shaking his head. He disagrees.
Watch him in zone. He's really good. But I don't think you should be asking Victor Mete and Justin Hall and Jake Muzzin to play the same game as Morgan Rielly. And Morgan Rielly is in a special breed of offensive defensemen. I don't like flying the weak side defenseman to jump in the play. I've never been a fan of it. I think you have guys that should be defensive minded, puck on your stick, puck off your stick. Don't overhandle the puck. Give the puck to your winger, to your center, to your beat D man. But I think to have these guys playing in these offensive roles, like it's great if you have maybe a decor like Colorado where you have that kind of talent. But
which defenseman do they have playing in an offensive role other than Morgan Rielly?
I've seen Jake Muzzin jump into plays now.
Well, that's just the system that they're playing. They activate their defensemen a lot.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe have you want to give TJ Brody a little bit of rope. You want to give Morgan Rielly all the rope in the world. Okay, I understand. But I don't think a guy like Justin Hall should be getting involved in the offense. Just do your job. Be big. Be whatever he is. 6'3", 6'4".
We can talk a lot about Justin Hall.
get the puck. Move the puck. Like if I was a video guy, I'd be like, you held the puck for more than a half a second, like smack in the back of the head kind of thing. I just think that you've got to put guys in situations that suit them. You can't just say, well, this is our system. We're going to play our system. I think you have to almost tailor your system for certain guys. And you guys disagree. I think Vic's a nice defenseman. He skates well. He's in the right spot in D zone. Just get him to take the puck, move the puck. Muzzin, take the puck, move the puck. Muzzin's a stay-at-home defenseman. I don't remember him scoring points in LA. I don't remember him jumping in the rush in LA. He's
Bobby,
a big
Muzzin might not play
defenseman.
another game in his career.
Yeah, and Muzzin is what you call a true stay-at-home defenseman, considering he's at home.
Yeah,
and he's going soon.
Not to make light of the situation, but he might be at home for a little while.
Okay, but these other guys, like I don't know. I think if you ask them to do the bare minimum, I look at a guy like Vancouver had Chris Tanev. When he first showed up in the league, he didn't do very much. It was almost like we'll play him 10 minutes, undrafted, and then he just kind of built into being a really good, efficient defenseman. I think that's what you have to ask from these guys. Don't ask them to do too much. Just bare minimum. You have the forwards to score. Let them do their jobs. Let these guys do their jobs.
A lot to take in there, Robbie. All I'm just going to say is Victor Mete, 3 teams in 3 years is not really bodes well for a guy who's in the depth, and he is the number 8 on this depth chart, at least. So.
I really like him in his D zone. I've always liked him when I watched him on the puck. He's a guy, but I think defensively, if you just ask him to do a little job, I think he can do it.
Okay. Agree to disagree. Leafy for me. Well, let's see here. I can go with a lot of things. You guys have pretty much touched on everything, so I'm going to go with one off the board here. Don't you find it a little
Leafy
coincidentally that the Leafs are in Vegas for the next 3 nights? Like you're talking about the characters and egos on this team where they leave Winnipeg on a Saturday, probably take the red eye in, there on the Sunday, and now they play a game on the Monday, lose, and now are flying out Wednesday to go to San Jose. So they got another 2 nights in Vegas. Gee, what could possibly go wrong in Vegas? If this start, I am so looking at a 3-0 first period lead for San Jose on Thursday because Eric Källgren's going to get the start, and their Leafs are going to forget who's in net, and James Reimer's probably going to pitch a shutout. So that's my Leafy. I hope I'm wrong, but it's just there's just just so much. It's like 4 days in Vegas with this team. Yeah, can't
I
wait how
love
they
it.
start next game.
Frankie with the first ever prediction of leafiness. I like it.
I love the staying in Vegas. I love it. Team bonding. Team bonding. I am
Team bonding.
two thumbs up.
I heard
Two
something
thumbs
funny
up.
today. If like the Leafs had a coach like Mike Keenan, and they put a dud out in the Vegas game, it'd be like, hey guys, that off day tomorrow ain't happening. we're having a skate tomorrow morning, and when you're done that, we're going on a dead man's run, and then we're driving a Chevy to San Jose. We're taking the old major league bus that's about to break down. We're not flying into San Jose. We're driving.
Get Mike
That
Keenan on the horn, man. Let's get him back here.
That reminds me of a story I heard about an ex-Washington Capital player. I'll tell the story another day, but hey, listen, if you're gonna mail in a game, Vegas is the perfect place. Like throw away one game, go to the club, have some fun at Omnia and XS. Go have some fun, enjoy yourself. I got a question for you guys.
Yes.
I was watching the Winnipeg game, and I watched Nick Robertson get absolutely obliterated. I hate the fight after a big hit. I can't stand it. I want to know where you guys stand. If it's a dirty hit, go ahead. If it's your one superstar, maybe go. Fine, okay, you don't take a run at the superstar. I'm tired of everybody having to, after a big hit, we see a fight.
I'm raising my hand because I want to speak.
Go ahead.
I totally agree with you. However, if Morgan Rielly does not go and jump, I think it was Morrissey, after that big clean hit, then you know all of the people, all the big Leaf fans, you know what section of the Leaf fan base are going to come after it. And they're going to say, look at this team. Their young kid just got obliterated and no one stands up for him. So you can't have it both ways. You either want your guys to stand up for each other or you don't. Like, what do you want here?
I think this is a league problem. This isn't a Leaf thing.
Yeah,
I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, in terms of looking at that league problem with a Leaf lens, if Morgan Rielly doesn't do that and nobody does anything, then everyone is going to say, oh, look at this team. Look, same old Leafs get pushed around and do nothing back. So I didn't have
how much of this is the Twitter effect? Do we feel like we live in a different world now where we never heard these opinions unless you went to a bar and you kind of
especially because we watched the game with Twitter at our fingertips. We're like in a chat room on Twitter with your Twitter feed as you're watching the game. Yes.
You know, and more often than not, it is Morgan Rielly coming to the defense of his teammates. I give him a lot of credit. It shouldn't be, but how about the influence of having Simmons and Clifford in your lineup, which
definitely yes
makes you if you're 6'1", automatically makes you like 6'5", because
how tall would it make me, Frank, at 5'6"? Would it make me 5'8"? I'd really like to be 5'8".
Man, you're pressing 5'10" there, pal.
Yeah.
But I think that having that presence gives you that, that angst to do kind of that rough stuff after the whistle and after a hit. And, it's that whole instigator rule, right? I'm surprised it still kind of happens, but it's almost like an unwritten rule now. It's like you get a big hit and like, all right, well, now I got to go defend this guy. It's just almost like, you don't want to do it, but you kind of have to. It's almost like a code per se. But yeah, you're right, Bobby. It bothers me too. A good hit's a good hit, man.
Yeah. All right, boys. So the Leafs are California Dream, and hopefully they have 3 games in 4 nights. They got Thursday they're at the Shark Tank, and then Saturday they're at the, I was going to say Staples Center, but what is it? The Crypto.com Center now?
King or Crypto.com.
There you go. And then Sunday they end the trip at the Pond against the Ducks. So what's a realistic goal here for this team? Would you say at least 5 out of 6 points? Is that being too greedy? And what are you looking for in particular from
they're playing struggling teams right now, but California really isn't too friendly to them.
They swept it last year. And I remember Simmons last year said, we're down here for a business trip. So I'd like to see how business-like they approach this.
It ain't last year. I'd be happy with 4. I'd probably be realistically. They're gonna probably grab 3 to 6.
So pessimistic.
Sorry, man.
I'm gonna start calling you Coach Glass Half Empty.
Funny, that's what my wife calls me now.
There you go. Is there anything in particular you'd like to see them do more of, do less of? I mean, they're obviously the defensive play has not been the greatest.
It's just simplify the power play. I know it was working okay, I guess, against Winnipeg. Got again too perimeter like for me against Vegas. Just get pucks to the net, man. They're so much more efficient when they're just getting pucks to the net. I like them how they're using the bumper a little bit more. Tavares is establishing himself in the middle, which is a little bit better to see. So I just simplify the power play would be a big thing for me, because they really that was almost like their get out of jail free card last year. It was not the league's best power play, kind of off to a slower start this year. So if they think they can outscore their problems, they're gonna need the power play to do that. So that would probably be the big thing for me. And the other thing that we probably didn't mention about what they do a lot of still is too many men penalties, man. You got to cut down on that. I think they led the league in that last year.
They did.
Again, and it cost them a goal. Geez, it doesn't take much to change the right way. Again, another mental error that just doesn't go away.
I hope our listeners realize this isn't the normal Coach Frank. He's in a little bit of a tired, cranky mood, I think.
I'm old man yelling at the cloud today, man.
Yes, you are. Yes.
Do our listeners know that we are going to live watch one of these games? We're going to jump on Instagram and we're gonna live watch one of them.
That's right. So if you are not following us on Instagram, please do. We are a Puckin Pod on Instagram, so that's where we post little snippets of our content on there, and we'll announce which game we're going to do for this, right?
Of course.
We haven't chosen that yet.
If not to follow along for a game, just to tune in for our post playoff game rants, because they are the best things we do. And so you should be following when they get there and when they fail. They are the best things to watch.
It's like watching a car crash. You don't really want to watch it, but you can't turn away.
It's like those really bad horror movies.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in once again. We really appreciate all the people that have subscribed to us, people that have written nice comments. We really appreciate that as well. Keep them coming, though. We enjoy reading them. We will. If you got a question that you'd like us to take up on the show, please put that up there as well. We'll discuss it. We'd love to do that. And Bobby, are you raising your hand? You want to speak, or are you just saying bye?
I have a question.
Yes.
Has anybody said anything nice about me in any of these comments?
No, must be the Broncos hat.
Okay, good. All right. Just checking. I'm waiting for one. I'm just waiting for one nice
one of these days. Maybe your mom will tune in and say something nice. All right, everybody. Enjoy the Leafs in California, Saturday and Sunday. You don't have to stay up that late either. Normal time games for us. Take care, everybody.